It's got a soul, this hero farm. It falls asleep inside my arms. We work the fields under the stars. The love is here at Goldshop Farms. A city life, yeah, it had its charms, but we would dream of the fields under the stars. I fall asleep inside its arms. The love is here at Goldshop Farms. The love is here at Goldshop Farms.
What is going on, everybody? Good to see you. It is May 1st. That means it's time for yet another farm meeting, and I'll be hanging out with you guys tonight, taking your questions, giving you updates on stuff that's happening on the farm, diving into stuff that I usually just don't have time to cover in a video, and just kind of hanging out with you for the evening, because this is what I always like to do the first of the month, or the first Wednesday of the month, I should say. And yeah, seeing folks hanging out in here. Who do we got so far? Hey, I Am Trash is first. We got Katrina from Sow and Tear out in Gilroy, California. What's happening, Texas Roast? Assassin, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, this is really, I always love hanging out here and digging into stuff. And I'm already seeing a whole bunch of questions coming in. And before I get into that, though, I did want to give you guys a couple of updates of stuff that's happening around the farm, because like right now it is like full on sprint time. Usually when I talk about the farm and what's going on with the farm, like there's such a seasonality to it. And I've talked about this in the past. And, the winter months are the chill months. I have like a half an hour to an hour of chores in the morning, maybe another half an hour to an hour at night. I might work on certain little projects here and there, or like, have like things I have to do with the animals, like certain like maintenance or cleaning things. But overall, the farm work in the winter is not a big deal. And it's very much a small part of like my day. And, that gives me time to do things like write books and work on other projects. Like that's where, I started that second YouTube channel, Morgan Gold. Like all of that came from just, wanting to be able to cover other stuff other than just the farm, because, admittedly, things slow down in the winter. Well, we are not in the winter anymore. We are full on in spring, and I'm feeling like there's not enough hours in the day already. And yeah, it's only May 1st. What's been going on is we are in the midst of calving season. We have actually 4 calves now on the farm. You guys have only seen videos that show up to 2. The video that comes out tomorrow actually will show the other 2 calves that have been added since the start of the year. What's really exciting about tomorrow's video too, and like I really hope you guys get a chance to check it out, is I actually finally caught one of the cattle giving birth like live with the camera. It was really funny. So I took last week, which is when it happened, I took Abby to the groomer. When I came back from the groomer, I noticed that Annabelle was like on the ground, full on in labor. There's like a calf like half hanging out of her. And as soon as she saw me, she stood up and the calf just basically popped right out. And the calf is perfectly healthy, doing well. Annabelle's doing well. And so now for the year, we've actually had 2 bull calves and 2 heifer calves. And I don't know, I'm just wicked excited about it all. So yeah, you will see that actually in tomorrow's video, and it is super, super exciting in terms of the stuff that's gone on there. So yeah. Oh wow, I'm seeing so many folks here. All right, what's going on? Finn the cat hanging out. How come I only just I don't know, Saved. What I will say is this: the farm meetings are pretty much always the first Wednesday of the month, depending on the time of the year. Sometimes I might do it at 7:00 Eastern. Sometimes I might push it back to 8:00. As it gets lighter later, I usually push it back later, because typically what I'm doing is like I just did my chores before running in here to start this, because it's just getting dark around here now, versus like in the winter months, like I like to go to bed early. And so starting at 7 is just fine. And so, yeah, I don't know how YouTube does their notifications, but I don't know if you click the bell, according to the cliche, that's how it'll go. What is the new calf's name? So, all right. So, I'll just tell you guys because you guys came and hung out here at the farm meeting. I will just tell you guys that all the new calf names. So, the first new calf that we had this year, her name is actually sorry, this is the first calf we had on the farm was Elliot Smith, and so he was Anne of Green Gables' son. Basically, my buddy Pinbo had the birthday the same day as Elliot, and that's who got the honor of naming the calf. The second calf that was born, Ariel's calf, which you guys saw, I think, in the last video, that calf's name is actually, I've decided, Belle. Ariel Belle. I guess there's a Disney connection. Belle, when she has a daughter, I don't know, I'll probably end up calling her Cinderella or something. And I might just stick with the Disney naming convention for that line of cattle. But yeah, that's actually the second calf's name. The third calf that was born, and I share this in tomorrow's video, is Prince. And so, yeah, I really I love Prince, huge Prince fan. A lot of people suggested that I call Elliot Smith Prince. So when I looked at all the comments, that was actually one of the more popular names, and I totally agree. And so, yeah, Prince Rogers Nelson is that calf's name. And then the fourth calf, I still haven't decided yet. I think I want to do Betty, but I'm struggling on which Betty, and I'll explain why. And I'd love for you guys to weigh in on this one. So some people are saying Betty Boop, which I kind of like. But the thing is, Bet the Weird Chicken, who you actually saw a clip of, that white poofy chicken. Her name is Bet, but I often call her Betty Boop. So I feel a little weird calling that calf Betty Boop. I would like to call her Betty White, but I also kind of might want to save that name if I have a heifer from one of the Charolais, the white cows that I have. Because I don't know, that would just kind of feel kind of nice to call her Betty Boop, or I'm sorry, Betty White. So I don't know. I still haven't decided. I'd love to hear what you guys think on that one. So yeah. All right. I know I'm ignoring questions, and I got to get into this too. So, hey, what's happening, Debbie, Piper Lily? Stacy, I love your screen name, Stacy the below average turtle. That just makes me laugh. That's awesome. Oh, by the way, shout out to our moderators tonight. So when you see the people with the names with the blue wrenches, like Katrina here at Sow and Tear, they make doing these live streams possible. They help me manage the comments and deal with all the flow of stuff. And so without them, it wouldn't be possible. So if you want to go check out their YouTube channels and say hey and tell them Toby Dog says hello, that'd be awesome. But yeah. So let's get into some of these questions that I've already gotten several of them. All right. So Midi Trex had the first good question because I went through and starred right before I jumped on. And this one's all right, I'm going to comment on this one and do it in a way where I'm going to set politics aside and just kind of focus on the dog part of it. So if you guys aren't familiar, I think she's South Dakota's governor. She might be North Dakota's governor. I know people in the Dakotas are probably rolling their eyes at me right now as I say that. But I'm pretty sure she's South Dakota's governor. Kristi Noem. She, I think she has a memoir coming out. And in the memoir, she talks about killing one of her dogs because the dog killed a chicken. And I don't know, it's got some I don't know how much is just sort of sensationalized in the media versus how much is actually what she said and kind of the sentiment of how she said it. Because I don't have the full context of it. I just saw an article too pop up on it. And look, so I want to actually say that and give the benefit of the doubt there. But I don't know, it's hard. I know there's a school of thought of people who say, well, once a dog kills a chicken, they're a chicken killer, and you just got to write that dog off. As you guys know, and as Midi Trax is citing here, I don't feel that way. I feel like it's on you as the dog owner to put in the work to work with that dog and get them to a place where they can work for your setting. Now, that said, I don't to this day, I still don't feel great leaving Abby with chickens. She's not a killer, she's gonna try to eat them all, but she likes to play with chickens, and I've just seen it over and over again. And when I'm not watching, she might get a little playful and mischievous because she is that chaotic good. And so it's just in her DNA not to be a great chicken dog. She's okay with the ducks and geese. I don't have any problems there. She's actually really good with the cattle. She's going to be going back up to the upper pasture once I move the cattle out this spring. And so she's going to be spending more time up there with them. because particularly I want her to help protect the calves because we've got so many coyotes around. And so it's just kind of finding a job for her that works has been where I've focused my attention alongside the training. And so, yeah, it's disappointing that somebody would sort of put it out there that, oh, that's how you deal with things, because I don't think that's what responsible dog ownership looks like. And so that is my 2 cents on that one. Okay, next question. Ludius Laps. I think that's what it is. When am I getting turkeys? They seem to be missing. So I don't have any plans to get turkeys right now, and for a couple of reasons. One, like, it's just another thing to add, and particularly when you're brooding turkeys, you really should keep them separate from your other poultry because of some disease cross-contamination. And so, like, adding turkeys isn't just like adding, like, I have, adding 1 or 2 more ducks, geese, or chickens is no big deal because they all go into those respective flocks, and it's not something I would like seriously have to think hard about. Adding turkeys, though, is a lot of extra complexity, and so that's there. Then as I think about it as a farm business, geese kind of play the same role on the dinner table as a turkey. And there's a lot more folks around here selling turkeys. And so it's a lot more competition versus geese are actually rather rare. And so it's just like, it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint either. And so the extra work plus not making sense as a business, like, has me just not all that interested. I don't know. Maybe one day I will experiment with it, but I'm just not rushing out there to do that just yet. Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. Ludi Loose Laps is getting a lot of the questions because they asked early. So love follow up on Jimi Hendrix. I don't think I'm ever going to do it. I mean, the real answer is there's just so complexities that I'm just not going to talk about publicly related to where he went that have me not wanting to kind of talk about that whole situation. And so, yeah, you're probably not going to get an update. And I know that's probably very unsatisfying for folks, but that is the truth of it all. I mean, like, look, I will always try to answer your questions honestly, but there's going to be some times where I'm like this, I'm going to say, I'm not going to talk about that. And this is one of those times. Hey, Rachel. How do you plan on grazing the cattle? Are you going to separate them or keep them all together? That's a really good question, Rachel. And I am actually getting really close. This is like one of the things I'm running around is like prepping pastures and fixing fencing and fixing electric lines. And I will probably turn them out in a week or two, depending on the weather, depending on a couple of other things that I'm still waiting on. But I would say probably about a week or two, I'll turn them out. The grass will be just about ready for them to go out there. And so yeah, that is where it's at. In terms of like separation, what I'm going to do is basically my plan is to have the yearling heifers. So specifically, Alice B. Tokless, who's that yearling heifer calf that I bought back earlier this winter, as well as Baby B. They're going to be in the lower pasture, like in the same area where the ducks and geese go for the summer. And I'll just be moving them probably like, I don't know, once or twice a week, kind of through the permaculture orchard. And yeah, what I want to do is basically keep them separated from Macho Man so that they don't get bred this year. Much like I did with Bonnie McMurray and Belinda Carlisle last year, where they were separated from everybody. I'm going to do the same thing with those two. All the moms and the calves are going to go up to the upper pasture, and I'm going to be moving them twice a day like I did last year. I'm going to do almost exactly the same thing and just try to get better at grazing. And I think my pasture is actually going to be better for them for eating because they worked it over last year, and in theory it should be improving. And so that'll be the plan with them. Macho Man will get mixed in with the girls. I'm going to do late June. I did Father's Day last year. I worry that might still be too early because that would, if like that happened to be the day, it would still be mid-March when I would have calves. And that's, I don't know, it still feels too early for around here. Like early April feels like just about right. So that would be when he goes up there, and I'll basically probably keep him down around here in the winter cattle area. But what I typically do is I like let him go eat like the grass around the house. He's really good with fence training. He's really easy to move around. And so I'll give him access to grass in kind of the non-traditional grazing areas around the farm. So you'll see him bouncing around, popping up in places. The one animal I haven't made a decision on, and I'm really struggling with this one, and any thoughts or advice you guys have would be really greatly appreciated, is Joey Ramone. So Joey Ramone, who's my steer, and so that means he doesn't have testicles, so he can't breed the cows. I have been keeping him all winter with Macho Man as kind of a companion, but the thing is, those two guys fight all the time, and I don't know. I don't love it. It makes it hard for me to go into the pen and work with them at the same time. And I know I've talked about this in a recent video. And so my instinct is to actually want to take Joey Ramone and put him with the girls. And so have him with Baby B and Owlsby Tokless. But I don't know. Like that would be fine. I think it would be good. He'd actually, because he's the bigger animal, he'll end up being the dominant one of that trio. And I see no issues. He can't get them pregnant, so it would work out. But the problem is Macho Man, where I don't want to have him be alone. And it's like really complicated in terms of how can I like move him around and not. I might try to like separate them just as I'm moving Macho Man to the upper pasture. But that can be tricky because Joey can sometimes Joey is much harder to steer. Is like the steer is much harder to steer. And so I got to like try to figure that out. I don't know. I'm as I talk about it, I really do know what I should do, but I'm sort of struggling out with it. Yeah. So Katrina, we have not had flies yet, to be honest. It's been really chill so far. All right, it's 8:20 and I'm already still answering questions from 8:02. Sorry. Wait, okay, this guy's got to go. Sorry, I've got a spammer on Facebook I'm blocking out. How is the new hatching room? Okay, so the new hatching room's doing good, I think. Knock on wood. The temperatures remain consistently above 65 degrees, which is exactly what I wanted. I have, I don't know, probably about 35 goose eggs in there right now. And so we're in the midst of hatch. I should have some hatching activity happen in mid-May. So Georgie, it's going to be interesting to see how the Charolais react. The farm that they came from, they were basically fenced in with a single strand of wire, so they were used to that, but they weren't rotationally grazed. Like, so they would move like different pastures like every couple of weeks versus me moving them multiple times a day. And so it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. I have the outer perimeter fence, and so if they break through or don't respond well to it, I'm not too terribly concerned because I can kind of get them back in and I'll just have to keep working with them. But that's kind of where we're at. And so I'm not too concerned. No, Maya, I don't think I'm going to. So Maya's referring to Bean, our blind duck. I don't think I can do that. I have too much of an affection for her. I will never try to breed her. She seems like a relatively happy duck. And so I don't feel like there's a reason to put her down. It's not like she's suffering or anything. So yeah, no, I won't do that. The one thing though I might do is I might move Bean in with the weird chickens. Another one of the projects I've actually been working on right now is I'm actually building a brand new weird chicken house. It's going to be really interesting structure. It's going to be a like kind of more traditional coop that's actually insulated because silky chickens are just much more fragile and they need the cold protection for winter. It's going to be really, really easy to clean. And the really interesting thing is I'm going to actually make a run for them, but the run is going to be a geodesic dome, which I know sounds kind of crazy as I'm saying it out loud, but I think it's going to be really cool. I'll end up putting out a video on it in a couple of weeks once I'm done building everything, but like I'm almost done building the coop. But then once I build the coop, I got to build the dome. And then once I do that, I'll move the weird chickens in there. And then once I've moved the weird chickens in, I might take Bean and move her in there. I don't love having her be blind and having to run around the pasture. I worry about her getting into trouble more easily. And so, yeah, that would be, there you go. Yeah, Cybertooth, like I was saying, that is exactly the naming structure I went through. Aw, thanks, Gert. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if anybody want to hit me with a thumbs up, it's always appreciated. Okay. And I think, Casey, I just answered your question. All right. Linda asks, how is Abby doing? She's doing really good. She just had her grooming, her annual grooming last week. So she's looking beautiful, more beautiful than usual even. And she is she's doing good. I'm gearing up to do a little more training work with her and like reacquainting with some of the training to get her ready to go up with the cattle. But yeah, no, she's doing good. Yeah. All right. Do I have? Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna actually try to hatch some of the American breast chickens that I have and see if, like, not as a commercial thing, but just like to feed Allison and me. I might be raising those American breasts for us to eat. Okay. Lo asks, is it Ginny in the back? No, that's Lil Barn Cat right back there. So Lil, who is our retired barn cat, who's now a house cat, that is her hanging out there taking a nap. She's kind of like she pretty much lives in my office. I mean, she'll go downstairs and she eats in the kitchen and she poops in the bathroom, but this is like her default place to hang out. Oh yeah, no, yo, Simone, we will definitely be riding pastures and having Abby chase me around. That will definitely be on tap for this summer. No, I would say probably by the end of this month, I'll be doing that on a daily basis. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Yeah. So, Mitch, I don't know, but yeah, as Mitch is referring to, the egg production for the geese is down significantly for the back half of the spring and the goose laying season. Like, they were totally normal at the beginning of the winter. Like, once they started laying, it was like a good normal clip, and it sort of slowed down. So yeah, like I don't know. It's got me kind of concerned. It's definitely gonna hurt how many geese we can sell in the fall. No doubt about it. Because if I don't have the eggs to hatch, I don't have the geese to sell is really how it works. Hey, Scott. So both of the bull calves will end up becoming steers. I've actually already banded both of them. And so they are in the process of becoming steers as we speak. Hey, RJ. Morgan, is Peacham Cafe closing the end of July? That's what I heard. All right. So, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to almost like put out an advertisement. I might even see if I can find the information because I think this could be a really fun opportunity. You know what? It's not out there yet. Okay. I'm just going to talk about it. So, here in our small town of Peacham, Vermont, Peacham is a tiny little town of 700 people, just outside of St. Johnsbury, Vermont, in like the Northeast Kingdom, if you're familiar with Vermont. And we have a little community-supported cafe called the Peacham Cafe. It's like a good place for some breakfast or, like coffee or lunch. They don't really do dinner. The folks who run it, Chuck and Mercy, they're actually my neighbors. They're really, really nice couple. But they're kind of retirement age and they want to be just retired at this point. And so they are going to be turning over the reins to a new operator. And so right now we are in town looking for a new operator for the Peacham Cafe. And so actually, if anybody's interested, shoot me an email, goldshotfarm@gmail.com. You could take over a cafe. It's kind of a turnkey operation. You wouldn't actually have to invest anything in the cafe, and you just get to run it. It's a pretty good deal if you're interested in running a cafe. And so what RJ is referring to is Chuck and Mercy are retiring, but there is an opportunity if somebody wants to take it over. And so, yeah, if you want to be my neighbor, you want to be running the local cafe, you want to actually even sell our eggs, it's actually one of the few places that does sell our eggs. Yeah, you should look into running the Peacham Cafe. Could be an opportunity for somebody. All right, I'm going to keep jumping ahead. I know. Oh, hey, Molly, what's going on? Oh, yeah, the watering system improvements. Yeah, I've been super stoked. And one of the things you'll see me do a lot in June is I'm going to be putting more water locations like all around the farm. I'm just finding, like, especially as I'm getting good at like working with the piping and putting in connections, I'm just finding it saves so much time and effort, and yeah, it makes life better. So I'll keep doing it. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with a 50-50 ratio because, it does two things. The males, that actually becomes like meat probably 2 or 3 years down the road. The females, what that actually does is I'll be trading them. So either trading or selling, but probably I'm really hoping to trade them. My goal is with both of the calves that have been born this spring, both the heifer calves, that I'm going to eventually sell them to somebody or trade them with somebody for other heifer calves. I would love to get them the exact same age, like, and just kind of do straight up swaps with folks for other Highland calves, because, you know, they are Macho Man's daughters. And so I don't want him to breed them. And so I'd rather send them to another farm and take on somebody else's calves. And so that's what I'm hoping to try to pull off. We'll see if it works. My fallback plan is I might actually set up 2 herds and basically start to build a pool of heifer calves that are related to Macho Man. And I might actually try to do something like AI or something else to get those pregnant. And like, because there is something nice about having Macho Man's genetics in the mix, because you can actually see it in those calves. They are like, if you're looking at like the breed conformation to a Scottish Highland, his genetics mixing with my mother's takes, like, you know, my cattle are kind of like little on the fringe in terms of like good characteristics for traditional Highland breeding. Macho Man is like the epitome of it. And you can see it in his calves. They have just a little bit more of that traditional Highland look. B. Arthur, that's kind of a fun one. I actually could see that. Good old Maud. All right, Katrina's saying save the Betty White for the White Cat. Betty Davis, that's a good idea. I like that. Go with Betty Whoop and save Betty Boop. Sorry, Highland. Go with Betty Boop and save Betty White. Yeah, I really think I am going to save Betty White just because it feels more appropriate for a white calf. Like, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's too on the nose, but yeah. Hey, Deborah. Oh, thank you. All right. Betty Rubble. Ooh, I like how you're thinking there, Daniel. That's like, I got to think about that. That's like actually a really good Betty. So Christina, I think regardless of what I call her, Betty the baby bovine is probably going to be what I call her. Like, much like, you know, Beatrix Potter is actually Baby B's real name. I end up making nicknames for a lot of the animals that I talk to a lot. And yeah, I could see her becoming Betty the baby bovine, which is so satisfying to say. So thank you for that suggestion. Okay, how many more calves? I think 2, maybe 3. I'm still not sure if Amanda's pregnant. I don't think she is, actually. And so if she's not pregnant, then I'm only expecting 2 more calves. And so that's from Astrid and Amelia Bedelia. And so hopefully they have 2 calves, and that'll be in the mix. Okay, I'm just cruising through questions here. All right. Or some people are talking about, yeah, what I was saying. Yeah, Edward. I think that would have been a fair way to do it. Just oh no. Oh, I'm back. Sorry, I had a little Wi-Fi issue. Looks like something got in the way of the satellites. So, ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. For some reason it's not. I'm hoping I'm still live here. I'm gonna keep going, even if I'm not. All right, Tyler Churchill is asking, even though it's not my screen isn't working. Tyler Churchill is asking there it goes. When are you getting pigs? So I'm actually supposed to get the pigs late next week in theory. So I was actually just texting my buddy who is supplying me with, I'm going to be getting 4 pigs this year, 4 piglets. And it should be late next week. It might be early the following, but so I would say you guys should probably expect to see them showing up in videos in about 2, maybe 3 weeks. But yeah, I am actually another thing. Like I said, this is why I'm running around like a chicken with its head cut off between getting the pasture ready for the cattle, building the new weird chicken coop, getting ready for the pigs. I'm also doing this big project for Allison that I promised her where I'm cleaning out our old barn because it has turned into a disaster area. And so I'm actually trying to tidy all that up. And so just like all of those things just have me running around crazy these days. But yeah, the pigs are coming. Like I said, I think it should be late next week. Oh, that's very kind of you, Judy. Thank you for saying that. And yeah, much appreciated. And it's so tiny. I think that's the Australian flag. All right. Yeah, so donkeys could work, but donkeys hate dogs. So there's two reasons why. So I've actually seriously researched this one and considered getting donkeys to help with predators around the farm. Oh, by the way, we're gonna do a special segment later on tonight where I'm gonna show you guys some stuff from a recent trail camera poll. These are some cool videos that I found. But to answer your question, Muppet, yeah, the donkeys keep the wild dogs. They do. They actually do work pretty well for predator control, but they would also like try to fight Abby if I brought her up there. And so I don't love that. And then the other thing is this. Donkeys are desert animals, like just like in terms of like where they grew up in the world as a animal species. They the grass that we have here in Vermont is so rich and lush in the summer that a lot of donkeys that people keep around here get obese very quickly and very easily, and then it becomes a hard thing to manage. And so yeah, like I think that has me shying away from it. And so those two things kind of keep me not interested, but I would consider it. All right. Sarah Ross asks, how did you get into poultry? I got into poultry. I mean, poultry is the gateway farming drug for animals. Like I would actually still recommend this to pretty much anybody. If you've never owned any livestock, but you would like to, start with poultry. Chickens are probably the easiest to start with. You can be a weirdo like me and start with ducks. I would not suggest starting with geese just because they can be a little bit hard to manage if you don't know what to do. But it's because they're the easiest thing to start with. And so that's how I got into it too. And so when I moved up to the farm back in it was May of 2018. So it's gonna be about 2 weeks before the actual anniversary comes up, but almost 6 years ago. I knew right away that I wanted to start raising ducks and try to sell duck eggs as the first farm business. And so I got 40 ducks from a hatchery, and they showed up in the mail, and actually I think it ended up being 42 ducklings. And I started raising them, and I have not stopped since. And so, yeah, there's been ducks continuously on this farm now for almost 6 years, which is crazy. Actually, it'll be June. I think like the second week of June is when they first came. So yeah, we're getting close to it. Okay. Tyler asks, is he still alive? I don't know who he is. Hey, Rose, what's happening? Good to see you. Any advice you can pass along to my grandpa in the States, Wisconsin, who wants to transition from cattle to chicken farm? Gosh, I've never actually gone that. I went the other direction. I don't know. I mean, it's a really hard thing to answer without the specifics of like, what's he trying to do? What's he coming from? I think, the difference that I would say, like in raising chickens, is it's much more of a numbers game than, I mean, well, cattle's a numbers game too, but your numbers are like, you add like a 0 or 2 behind the chickens versus the cattle if you need to try to like shoot for profitability. I don't know. That's probably a very unsatisfying answer, Zach. If you have more specifics, I can try to get more specific for you. Hey, Sarah Schneider, what's going on? Is that what Tyler's saying? Yeah, Tyler, I genuinely don't want to get into it. It's a very complex situation. Can we have a line of heifers named after female scientists? Okay, Christina, send me a note. I think we're connected on a certain social media platform. Send me a note over there if you have a suggestion for a bee name. And yeah, maybe I'll start up with the next calves that we get here on the farm. Yeah, I think that'd be actually very cool. Actually, the more I think about it, I really like it because, like, I think it puts an attention to something like that typically isn't there, that even I personally don't have great awareness. So any advice or thoughts you have there, shoot me a note about it. I would love to hear it. But I think that's a great idea. Yeah. How much time does it take to bulls get mature, grow full size? It seems both bulls are smaller than female cows you have right now. Will Macho Man get bigger than the ladies? Yeah, Arena. So Macho Man, I was actually just looking at him today, and I was like, gosh, he's filling out. Macho Man's getting bigger. He's not quite bigger than like Ariel or Audrey, who are my two biggest cows, but he's getting closer. I'll say this. Macho Man is 4 for 4 with my main cows that he was breeding last June. And I put him with the ladies when he was 11 months old. And yeah, I've had very good results so far. And so you can have a smaller bull breed a larger cow. In fact, my expectation with the Charolais, so the big white cows that I have, they're always going to be bigger than Macho Man. But I want him to breed them because a bigger bull breeding a smaller cow creates a very high risk of having birthing problems because again, like the baby's going to maybe be bigger than what the mom is built for. But if you do it the other way around, where you have a smaller bull breeding a larger cow, you actually have a higher likelihood of less birthing problems. And so I'm trying to experiment with hybrids a little bit. And so that's why I added the Charolais to the herd. And that's why I'm trying to do this experiment with Macho Man to see what sort of animals that produces. And so, yeah, I'm actually hopeful that that's the case, but I would not be intimidated. But long term, I'm certain that Macho Man's going to end up being bigger than my cows. I can see it. His frame is just continues to get bigger and bigger. All right. Scandic says, if you ever get another barn cat, I'd suggest a Norwegian forest cat. Been used up here in the north to control populations for center. They handle the cold. I would look into that. I think here's the thing. With the barn cats, I like to adopt barn cats that are in needs of homes because there's so many cats that need homes. And so, whereas with the dogs, I'm pretty specific about breed because they're working dogs who have specific purposes and jobs. The cats just have to be cats. And we provide for them in the winter. They have little heated houses. If it gets below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll bring them inside. And so if an opportunity for a Norwegian forest cat came along, I would jump at it. But I also don't think I'd go to like extra lengths to try to add one just because, like I said, I just see so many cats in needs of homes, and I'd almost prefer to go that way. So Audrey's calf is kind of almost like Jimi Hendrix. I would actually say that the coloring actually is very similar for Prince. Yeah, maybe a little bit lighter, but very similar. I was expecting it to potentially be. I mean, because between Macho Man being black and Audrey being black, I thought they would have a black calf, but that's actually not the way coloring works with Highlands. In that, basically, like if you think about the genes that the mother and father are carrying, both Audrey and Macho Man are actually both carrying red genes as well. Like Macho Man's mother, I know for a fact she's a red cow. I don't know Audrey's lineage exactly. I have a hunch that Audrey is actually part Angus, like Black Angus, which is why she looks a little different than the rest of the cows. And so, but at the same time, I would imagine she's probably got sort of traditional Highland coloring as well. And so that's why, both of her calves that I've seen so far have not been black, which would suggest that there's a decent likelihood that she carries a red gene as well. Oh, Azalea saying should go with the 2 yearling gals. Yeah, I mean, I might, because again, actually, it's much more of I just don't like having the dynamic between him and Macho Man. That's actually the thing that I really would think about doing. So JNL, I think it's a fair point, but then I'm adding sheep, and that's just like a whole nother thing that I got to end up doing. And so, I don't have interest in that. So Debbie wants an update on Templeton the rat. And well, Debbie, to give you this update, I'm going to have to crack my second can of Worcester water for tonight. It's going to be a ruby red grapefruit here. All right. No new information. I'm pretty sure Templeton's gone though. He has not set off any of the little tripwires I've set up. He's not been seen on camera and all the camera spots that I have set up. He's not chewed on any of the test strips. I don't think we have any rats on the farm. Knocking on my wooden desk right now. And so I think that one really close call with the trap either actually injured him and he died, or he just decided to go and never come back. Either way, I'll take it as a win. And yeah, I don't have the same issue that I was having. So Asher, I don't know. Probably not. I'm not a huge quail guy for a couple of reasons. One, like, to work around here in our climate, for the most part, you'd have to kind of do a lot of work with cages, which I don't love to do. And so, yeah, I don't think I would end up doing it. If you're actually interested in quail, Katrina over at Sow and Tear, who's one of our moderators here, she's like wicked into them and she knows a ton. So if you're ever looking for good quail content, you should check out Sow and Tear. Yeah. Oh, Edna, all right. Edna, I'm going to give you guys a preview of a design I am working on. Hang on, bear with me here. But I'd love to get your reactions. I have one option. So I am working on actually redesigning the Peacham Barn Cat logo. And here, I'm going to share my screen here. Here we go. Okay. So this is an updated Peacham Barn Cats logo I've been toying with. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. What I'm trying to do is it's the cat that I based my drawing on is actually Molly Murder Mittens. I don't know. Just as I was like, oh, I wanted to redesign and make like a new design for it all. And so it felt right to go with Molly, and I wanted to have like the prominent murder mittens up front. And so this is actually the design I'm considering. I'm not 100% yet. I actually just ordered some test prints to check it out, but I don't know. What do you guys think? And I'm thinking about making the main color scheme be purple and black. So yeah, let me know. All right. Bjorn has a question. Longtime watcher, love what you do. Question, I'm Scandinavian and living in Arkansas. It's miserably hot and I'm looking at moving. What's the average rental price like in Vermont? Well, Bjorn, I have a very good friend and she's from Arkansas, so I don't want to trash talk Arkansas, but it's not a state for me either, so I get it. What I will say is this: I think that the rental prices here are actually pretty high. Much like a lot of other parts of the country, we have a real shortage of housing here in Vermont. Actually, if you look at the charity that I have picked out, if you want to donate to, by all means, please do. It's actually Peacham Community Housing, and it's a nonprofit that I'm actually on the board of, and we're working to create more housing here in Peacham, particularly low-income housing. We manage housing for some older folks, and we have some other buildings that we're working on renovating here in town, and so there's just a need for housing right now in Vermont. So your question on the average rental price, it's high. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's higher than you would think for a rural area. And depending on where you want to live, it changes. Like Burlington is very high. And out here it's actually fairly high, but it's a little bit cheaper. And so, I mean, honestly, your best answer is to just go online and start looking. But yeah. Hey, Ramen Noodle, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, actually, I think I said this earlier, but yeah, probably late next week is when I'm expecting the pigs. Yeah, Sarah, I'm totally pumped for that too. You would see them probably a little bit later next summer would be when they would actually make their debut. Yeah. So, Steve, I think it's a good question. So what Steve's asking is, do you think the white cows and the other cows are just staying as different herds? So kind of, sort of is actually the real answer. And this is a theory I've held, and now actually seeing this play out, it actually has me sticking with it even stronger. Yeah, there's like definitely like two clicks in my herd these days, where like the Charolais, who are the white cows, are like one click, and then like my Highlands are the other click. They mix together pretty well now. Like they don't like they're not like at first they like would like completely stay away from each other. Now they'll eat side by side and they don't like fight really, and there's no issues in that regard. But they're definitely they're definitely the three Charolais stay to themselves a lot too. And so I think if like what I probably would do over again is maybe have them delivered one at a time, and like almost have it spaced out like a week at a clip, and that would give them a chance to like slowly introduce themselves into the herd, and they continue to be the same herd, versus by throwing three cows into the mix with gosh, what did I have, like a dozen already there, it was like harder for them to form their own herd, if that makes sense. So Della, I seriously considered adding sheep this year. It was something I thought a lot about, and I opted not to. And what I did decide was I wanted to focus more on the cattle side of things, which is kind of what you're seeing right now. And the reason being just I wanted to get better at what I'm doing versus adding one more thing on top of my kind of growing list of to-dos. And so I think someday there's a chance that I do add sheep, but just not right now. I'm not quite ready for it. Oh, well, yeah, Casey. I mean, that is my general thinking. I will say this though, there is a risk that I expect that there's going to be like a little bit of Bean getting picked on when she first gets introduced to the weird chickens. That's just inevitable. But once that pecking order gets established, if she gets bullied too much, I might have to pull her away from that situation and figure out another plan. But yeah, my hope is that I can move her in there. They kind of pick on her for a couple of days. Everybody figures out who's the hierarchy, and then they can all live together as a bunch of weirdos. And that is my hope. Okay, Sarah is asking, is the behavior between Joey and Macho Man a specific issue with them, or because one is sterile and one would happen in another cow? Oh, okay. So no, the issue is just between them. I just am constantly seeing them jockey for position. And the interesting thing is that now that Macho Man has gotten bigger than Joey, because when Macho Man first got paired up with Joey, Joey was the bigger of the two, because he's older. He's about 4 or 5 months older than Macho Man. But now Macho Man has grown bigger than Joey, and so Macho Man is the boss. But they still will fight and push. Like I actually just fed everybody fresh hay bales today. And whenever that happens, they start to fight and push each other away from the bale, even though there's plenty of space that they can like both eat from both sides. It's a dominance thing. And so I'd rather not have to deal with that in the summer when I'm moving them every day. And it's like, I don't know, like that's how cattle escape, is like when they're fighting and like bouncing around off of each other. And so I want to try to avoid that to the best of my ability. And so it's not about them with the cows at all. It's about them with each other. So I think I answered your question, Sarah. No, Frank is honestly, so here's the thing. Frank is very much a part of the flock with the geese now. She is like completely, I mean, she's got a boyfriend. She's hooked into the goose flock. She is a goose now. And so no, I would not move her. She and Bean don't like fight or anything, but they don't like really hang out like they used to. Frank has become a goose. Yeah, Kate, I would say I free range my animals with some guardrails is how I would position it. And I think there's a difference too in the summer months versus the winter months. So in the winter months, my cattle have a winter yard. They have access to inside as well as outside at all times. And most of the space that they have is outside. But I wouldn't call that free ranging. In the summer months, they are on pasture. They're moving pasture twice a day. So they're always on fresh grass, but I'm actually very directive of where they go. And so I don't think that that's actually accurate to call it free range. I guess If they were free ranging, I would give them access to 25 acres all at once and just let them go where they wanted to. That's actually not as good for the pasture and arguably not as good for the cow. And so it's definitely not as good for the pasture, though. I can say that with certainty. And so that's why I do it that way. So I guess you can't say that the cattle are free range. With the poultry, I would say that pretty much at all time. I mean, I think actually I meet the definition from like a ag guidelines perspective that they are all free range in that like they always have access to outdoors. I mean, I lock them up at night, but that's you're able to do that for security. The outdoor space that they have access to year round is always 3 times as much as their indoor access to space. And then in the summer months, they are entirely free range. I don't even lock them up at night. I just basically have some shelters out in the pasture that they can hide under if they want to because of weather. And they're out there for the ducks and geese. They're out there 24/7. And that is the purest definition of free range. You cannot even remotely argue that one. The chickens have a coop. They actually go in themselves and lock themselves up at night. I have like a solar, not solar powered, but it's like solar triggered door that opens and closes. It like opens 15 minutes after sunrise and closes 15 minutes after sunset. And so they like are always out there. I keep them in a specific area with poultry netting, or at least that's what I did last year. This year, I might actually do things a little bit differently and actually not even use the poultry netting and just make my life easier. But I'm still working out what that system's going to look like. But I would say that, yes, I consider my poultry all free range. And then when it comes to the pigs, I would say that they're free ranging too. You know, I have them in like acre size parcels. I rotate those acre size parcels over the course of the year that they're living here. And so, you know, based on any definition with pork, like they would be considered free range as well. What did you do with your old office, Rebecca? Hey, good to see you, Rebecca, by the way. I feel like, yeah, Rebecca, like you did like a live stream with me once, right? All right. Anyway, so to answer your question, it's basically a guest room now. So we have like 2 guest rooms in the house. And particularly as the weather gets nice, we have a lot of guests. So it's actually handy. But yeah, my old office, like, which is like on the other side of the house is now basically a guest room. All right, Liz is asking, any gears of current bird flu outbreak in gears? So we haven't had any local detection lately. Like we had a couple of really close calls. Like there was one farm like 2 miles from us that had bird flu 2 years ago, and that was really scary. We haven't had any really close calls like that, but it's something I watch for. Surprisingly, this is actually where Abby Dog, God bless her, she is actually helping this farm in a way that I would have never thought. So traditionally, we've had ducks and geese take residence in our pond in the winter, in the like the early spring months before I'm turning the birds out. Like we'll have Canada geese or wild ducks, like often setting up nests right around our pond, and they'll spend a lot of time hanging out in the pasture. And that is actually one of the biggest possible risks I can have for bird flu. Abby Dog has not allowed them to do that. Anytime any bird, hawk, owl, goose, duck, any bird flying, crow, she has like become very vigilant and chases them all away. And while, yeah, it might be a bummer that I don't have kind of the coolness of having like some Canada geese or some ducks hanging around the farm for a couple weeks, for bird flu purposes, it's actually a really good thing. That does not mean I'm immune. That does not mean I don't have wild birds still flying overhead, potentially spreading disease. It's a risk. I need to take precautions. I need to watch for it. But I think it actually helps improve my odds a little bit by not having the wild birds hanging out here as much as they used to. I think the other thing I will say is this is actually where keeping ducks, chickens, and geese together the way I do actually has an advantage where Chickens are much more susceptible to bird flu than ducks and geese. And so if I were to ever have a problem, I think I would most likely see it manifest itself with my chickens first. And so that becomes kind of my early alarm to say, ooh, am I a disease vector now? And is there an issue? And am I going to have to take action around it? And so it's something I watch for. And so like anytime I have a chicken die, like one chicken, I don't freak out and go, oh my gosh, I got bird flu. Like two chickens, I start to watch carefully. Three chickens in like a very short period of time, I would jump on it. Thankfully, I actually haven't lost it. I'm trying to think. I haven't lost a chicken, duck, or goose since gosh, I guess it was like, was it November or December when Rosette died? So Rosie, so one of the weird chickens, when she was the daughter of Rosie, who also died like very shortly before. Those two died, like it was like November or December. Those are the last birds I've lost, knock on wood. And so yeah, I've been very lucky like lately that I haven't had lots of things like that. It's I feel very, very lucky, and I recognize that. All right, I'm jumping ahead because I know it's almost like 9:00 and I'm still like haven't even hit the 8:30 questions yet. By the way, guys, I really appreciate your patience. I'm doing my best to kind of keep up with these as much as I can. And so yeah. Oh, hey, all right. Lillikin asks, "How's my hand?" Honestly, it's actually pretty good. It's fully healed up. So this was the finger that I kind of like lopped off the tip back in, gosh, what was that? It was like October. It's grown back. You're not going to be able to see it on camera. It looks a little bit different. It's got like a weird bubbly. It's almost, it looks like I have a blister or something on it. There's definitely like a scar around it. And like when I touch it, I don't have like normal feeling like I have like on other fingertips. It feels different. It feels weird when I touch it still. But yeah, like that's I'm healed up, like fully healed up, and this will be, I think, just how it is for the rest of my life, which is fine. They did a wonderful job at that hospital doing everything, fixing me up, and so I'm very thankful for that. Marcel, yeah, I'm live on both YouTube and Facebook. So Marcel, if you notice how he's got like a little Facebooky icon, is on Facebook watching. While meanwhile, Christina, because she's got the little YouTube icon, is on YouTube. All right. That is a very okay. So earlier this evening, I made a comment. So if I were to keep the two heifers that have been born this spring, I would not breed them with Macho Man. And what I said is, oh, I'd probably turn to AI for breeding. And so yes, I meant artificial insemination. So basically taking frozen bull semen from another bull who's not even on our farm, and using that to impregnate those heifers when it becomes their time. That's what I mean when I say AI, not avian influenza. I would not inject that into my cows. And no, not using artificial intelligence with my cattle. Yeah, no, very funny though. Ooh, Betty Crocker. Zach, I like that idea. That might actually be the way I go. Oh, yeah, Zach. I think I'm not landing on it yet. But yeah, that might be it. Yeah, I'm already calling her Baby Bell, by the way, Ramen Noodle. Like, yeah, she's Baby Bell. And it's funny too, because she's got this like little white belly. And she is the spunkiest of all four of the calves, and she's the mischief maker. She's got kind of the Belinda Carlisle vibe to her, and yeah. Betty White and B. Arthur. Yeah, honestly, I'm actually seriously considering saving those for if I have two heifer calves with the Charolais. That might be the way. That would probably be the naming convention I go to. Wow, Rob, this is a outstanding question. Here's actually the truth of it all. I think that the different animals have taught me different things. So, and each of those things is personally rewarding in its own right. Like if I think about my dogs, I mean, look, I think Toby taught me what it's like to have a companion and a partner, um, in an animal. Abby taught me what it's like to have patience and to push myself and to adapt in the name of love. Little barn cat over here, she and Molly, I feel like it's like two sides of the same coin. One turned out well, one didn't. Both taught me how you need to really treasure the love that you have in your life. I think the ducks and geese and chickens really have taught me the importance of like kind of being consistent and sticking with things and riding the ups and the downs. And the cattle have taught me just really how to push myself and push my limits and challenge myself to keep doing better in other ways. And honestly, each of those lessons, I find it like wicked rewarding in and of itself. And so I'm kind of, I know you might say, oh, you're dodging my question here. But I just find such unique value in each of them, and I'm grateful that I've had the chance to raise each of them in kind of their own unique way. I guess if I'm gonna like bluntly answer your question, I think it's probably working with the dogs and Abby specifically, where like that difficulty, and that was like some really low point feeling, and I was feeling like utter dog crap. At some of those low points, but at the same time sticking with it and pushing and seeing where she's kind of ending up now, that is probably the most personally rewarding. So I think I didn't answer your question and answered it. All right, I'm going to continue to jumping ahead. Oh, Tara, I will never ever get goats. Never ever. And if I ever get goats, I'll probably play this clip. But no, I won't get goats for a couple of reasons. One, because goats love to eat trees, and we have a lot of young trees that I've been working years to grow. Two, goats are hard to fence, and particularly if you are moving them around, they're really hard to fence because you like mobile infrastructure, they often will blow right through, and if they escape, they're going to eat a bunch of trees. And then three, they're just really susceptible to parasites if you're keeping them in one spot. And so like the combination of those things has me shying away. I would most certainly get sheep well before I would ever get goats, and I will never get goats. But it's a fair question, Tara. So Teresa, I don't know. I think 30-ish or so would probably be what I could like really handle well here on the farm. At least with the amount of pasture and the pasture configuration I have right now. That's kind of what yeah, that's kind of what I think I'd have as a target. So 30 cows would be where I'd at, and then calves and steers would be kind of coming and going, and like a bull maybe too. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people often say this to me, and I struggle with it, and like particularly this time of year, I'm really feeling it. The challenge is this: in my high periods, Edward, you're 100% right. There's more than enough work for multiple people here, and I do bring people on, like I bring Alfred on to help me with certain projects, and those are usually like summer month projects just to like kind of make a dent in things. Like I have other friends that I'll hire to help with other things too. But like in terms of like a constant hire, it's hard because I don't need it in the winter. Like in January, there's no work for anybody here. Like it hasn't, like I would say like the kind of the 2-person like workload starts in like mid early April, depending on the weather, like, and when like the melt happens, but like in April-ish time period. And then it kind of rides through to like early October. And then it's back down to like one person easily. And so the dilemma I have is like finding somebody who would be up for that, and having that also make financial sense with like, you know, like if I include YouTube into the mix and other social media earnings, definitely I could afford to have a second person working here. But if I'm just thinking about the like farm business and like keeping my farm costs really to the farm business, it would not be profitable to pay somebody. I would be losing money. Like when I do like the how much money did my farm earn each year video, there it would be negative easy, because like the wages, if I was paying somebody a fair wage to work on the farm, say, I don't know, even like 25, 30 hours a week, which is like not even like a full-time job, I would be it would, I think if I'm doing my math right, I think that would like just put me at like breaking even at zero in terms of net income. So yeah, it's a complicated one, but I know what you mean. I think it is a fair point. So Debbie, I am not going to name the pigs this year. I tried to name the pigs this year and my names got vetoed. And so Allison is the namer of pigs. That is just how it is going to be on this farm, and I'm accepting of it, and that's what it's going to be. And so there will be names for the pigs. They will come from Allison. They will probably come a couple of weeks after they arrive, and I will definitely share them with you guys, but that is going to be Allison's call. I always wondered, if your cows aren't ever going to need to defend themselves, why do you keep those dangerous horns? Don't you put yourself at risk? Well, Chen, I mean, the reality is this: the Scottish Highland breed, if you think about a breed characteristic, horns are a breed characteristic, what they always had. They play a really important role in their social interactions with each other. They are actually how they dig for food, even in the winter months. Like, actually, I see them do it all the time, where they'll dig in and like break things apart and use their horns as an appendage. Look, we do have coyotes. We do have lots of coyotes that could easily eat a calf, but I've never had any issues there, knock on wood, because of the dogs. And I think also Highland, like a 1,200 pound Highland cow with 3-foot horn wingspan is kind of intimidating to a 45 pound coyote, even 45 pound coyotes. And so I actually think that it values that. But then also I don't like the idea of disbudding them. That's trauma for the animal. That's, I think, in my opinion, unnecessary. And in terms of putting myself at risk, I've actually found, if you know how to interact with them and you know how to read their body language and their horn, they're not going to like attack me. They're not going to like charge at me. And they're actually very careful with how they use their horns with me. Like, in fact, there's only one cow who will actually use her horn on me, and it's Anne, and she's using it as a way to communicate. She's not trying to stab me, but like she'll use it to take things from my hand. And so, yeah. So I'm actually going to be doing something. So I originally thought I was going to actually have the pigs run up the other side of our property. Like if I'm looking at here, I'm going to just add this aerial shot to the stage here. So if I'm looking, no, sorry. It started playing the video. I'm going to go to the end and pause it. Here you go. Okay. So if I'm looking at what's on the screen here, if you see where the hoop coop is, and I don't think you can see my arrow. Hold on. Let me see if you can. I just want to make sure if I'm pointing, you guys actually see it. No, you don't see my arrow. So if you look at where, like on the right-hand side of the screen, or almost the middle of the screen, you're going to see the hoop coop. Basically, the pigs were running in the woods right alongside of that last year. My thought was I was going to actually have the pigs run on the other side of the pasture. So like if you see where the old barn is and see how like the fence lines there running up the hill past the trees, and like there's those trees there, I was going to actually have them run through there. But I'm realizing that that's going to create a lot of complexity from an infrastructure standpoint in moving the pigs. And so I'm actually going to have them kind of go back to the same place that the pigs were last year and just basically have them rework that same area, but actually have them go deeper in the woods and keep clearing out more of the woods. And so that's actually my plan for now, is to have them run through there. Hey, Danny from Wicked Awesome Gardening. Good to see you, Danny. Hope you're doing well. I'm having a little drinking problem here. Oh, Bourbon Girl. It's going to be actually the same stuff. The pumpkins worked out so well. I'm going to be doing, pumpkins will be going in probably like the first week of June. I'll probably put them in. I'm doing probably more oats and more barley, and hopefully I'll be keeping the teenage geese out. that is my plan. It's actually going to be relatively similar to what I did last year, because I feel like that worked out really well. Blair Warner, I like that. You take the good, you take the bad, and then you got what makes you sad. That's the facts of life. Yeah, see, Cybertooth knows what's up. Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of black. Okay, all right. I know I teased this earlier, Mina, so thank you for reminding me. But yeah, I'm gonna actually show you guys some footage of some cool stuff I got here on the trail cameras lately. Hang on, let me bring this up. Bear with me, guys. I wish I could play some on hold music right now, so you just get my doot. All right. Okay, let's see if I can do this right. I'm trying. It's always tricky to play videos that I'm not trying to load into this in their AVI file. I don't know. You guys don't need to know that. You don't care. So yeah, I just pulled a trail camera yesterday, and I found some great stuff I want to share with you guys. Like, here's the first one. Like, we got some good turkey action. Stop share, present, share screen, window. Okay. And we're actually just about getting into turkey hunting season actually here. But yeah, we've had so many turkeys wandering around lately. It's been very, very exciting. Then hold on, I'm gonna find some of the even better stuff. We've got those ever-present coyotes. They're always hanging around. This is actually a trail camera that I had in the cedar swamp. Hold on. I'm actually see if there's a better way to play these. Because if I can share this without having to constantly keep changing windows, it'll be way more efficient. Yeah. Share screen, window. Yeah, here we have like the coyotes are having a party. They're just kind of hanging out, doing their thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep dropping these into this because yeah, this will work much better. Okay, sorry guys, I'm figuring out the tech on the fly here. You know, some people ask me why I don't have a live stream producer. I think it's a very fair question. Oh, this was a cool one. It's always kind of cool when you see coyotes during the day in color like this. But yeah. Kind of sniffing around, doing his thing over there. I don't know. Actually, that could be a her. Still around. This one's pretty cool too. Yeah, this is just like a spot in the cedar swamp. And like this, I found like a wildlife corridor just by kind of watching where their tracks were going. And they just all seem to kind of fly through this one area. It's very satisfying to watch. Oh, then one day I had like a swarm of raccoons. This was pretty cool. And I do mean like, yeah, they're like just partying on the tree. Just there's like 4 of them like hanging out, doing their thing. And so usually the way this works is I'll like set up a camera for a month and then I'll go check the card. And so, yeah, I just pulled this card yesterday. More coyotes, more coyotes. What was this one? Hold on, let's see. Another coyote during daytime. But here, I'm going to now get to some of the really cool stuff. Got some of these guys. These are always fun. This deer was very curious about what's going on with the camera. But don't worry, there's going to be the most satisfying. Oh, is this the most satisfying clip? I don't know if it is. No, oh, just another raccoon wandering around. Oh, here's a good one. You guys were talking about black bears earlier. There goes that black bear. You know, actually, this black bear I think was actually on my neighbor's doorstep the other night, which is not a good thing. And so, yeah, she was a little bit worried about her chickens. I actually offered to give her some electric fencing to help with that problem. All right, this is probably the coolest clip that I found. Watch this one. Look at that. I'm gonna play it again. I have seen moose a couple of times. I haven't seen them in a few years on the farm, but here we go. We got a moose on the farm. I don't know. I love that. And I mean, here I'm gonna just go back to this. I think this is a deer clip, right? No, wait, hold on. Like if I go back to this deer clip that I pulled, right? Like, look how big that deer is that's just directly behind the tree, and look how tall it is. You know, good sized deer. That's a good, healthy deer. But then if you look at that, oh, there's the bear again. Look at that moose. Look how big that is. It's not even fully in frame. It's crazy. I am always awestruck with the size of moose. You know, when I first was on the farm, like this goes back, gosh, this was the spring of 2017. So we bought the farm in 2016. We started doing in 2017 like a bunch of renovations on the house, and I was up. It was actually Memorial Day weekend. I was up on the farm camping out on the pasture because our house was like completely stripped down to the studs because of the renovation work. And when I was coming down the hill, basically, like if you think about where the cattle are grazing, I was sleeping up there that night. I was coming down the hill, heading back towards the barn, and I actually saw a moose just like this right by the barn, and she saw me. And it was crazy to see her. Like actually one of the first videos I ever posted on YouTube was just a shot. Like if you actually search my videos and go all the way back to the beginning, like you'll see it as like the maybe 3rd or 4th video posted there. And like it was a moose, and it was a moose. And so here I got another moose shot, and I friggin' love it. Yeah, I think moose are so cool. All right, I'm going to give you a couple more before we end trail camera footage, but I don't know. They're just incredible animals. Look at them. The one sad thing is I noticed this one's got a lot of ticks on her. Like you can see it like up here, actually fair amount of ticks. And that's actually a real health problem that a lot of moose in the area are facing. Oh, here's that black bear. This is actually a different clip, a different day. So this was 425, but you can see the black bear walking on almost the exact same path as they were. Here, wait. So that was 425. I think this one is. Wait, no, wrong one. Hey, where'd that bear clip go? There it goes. So 423 walking just like that. And then 425, same exact move. Like, it's kind of funny. And actually, if you're ever out there trying to set trail cameras, one thing you can often see is like just how predictable some of their movement can often be. So yeah, worth checking out. Oh, Anna wants to see if Allison will join a podcast or live stream. I think, yeah, we'll probably try to do one soon with Allison. She's actually gonna be helping me out with the weird chicken video soon. So you'll probably see her make an appearance soon. All right, I am running out of time, and I'm still so far behind on questions. Almost like an hour, 45 minutes behind a question. What video that you made are you most proud of? Honestly, the video, and it's actually not even on the Goldshaw Farm channel. It's the video I made about my high school years. It's called The Only Jew in Catholic School. So if you go on the Morgan Gold channel and look for it, it's The Only Jew in Catholic School. That's probably the video I'm most proud of. Yeah. Is there a possibility the Peacham Cafe adding a chess area to it? Possibly. You know, Anitra, if you were the new owner or operator of the Peacham Cafe, you could potentially add that chess area. I would come down if you took over the Peacham Cafe and set up a chess area. I would come down and play chess and probably have you beat me at chess because I'm not very good. But I would totally be up for that. All right, Cybertooth, back again. What made you pick Highlands? What's your favorite trait? There are a couple things that made me pick Highlands. One, they are actually a very hardy breed. And so I wanted a breed that wasn't going to have a lot of health issues and problems to it. Two, they're very well suited for marginal forage and like clearing land and helping edge out pasture. And I have a lot of that. And so I wanted an animal that could do that versus, again, a really high maintenance breed, like a Wagyu. Like if I try to get into that, like, for example, I don't know, that doesn't match the context of my farm. And then, you know, they're suited for the climate, and I think that's there. And they're really, really docile. Like relative to like, especially as I see them side by side with the Charolais. The Charolais are super skittish and very high strung. The Highlands, once they get used to you, they're very, very docile and very, very chill. And that was actually one of the reasons I picked them. And then they also actually have a reputation for calving very easily and having very few problems there too. And so it was really all of those factors that made me want to get into them. And then they were actually pretty readily available here. If I was going to say what was the other breed I was considering, the answer is actually the Dexter, which has a lot of similarities to the Highland in a lot of the regards that I just cited. But yeah, but there weren't as many Dexters available and around to like easily acquire, and so that's sort of what got me there. Okay. If you get pigs, don't name them. It's hard to let them go. A Bradley East Hill Peacham. Oh wait, Bill? Are you in East Hill? Like, that'd be kind of cool. All right, I didn't know that. JNL, what you're saying is 100% true, and I've thought the thought myself. And honestly, I don't know. Part of me is actually thinking that if I trade, I might feel like I'm okay in naming the traded animal a B name. So that's actually that is something I'm considering. I don't know. I'd be curious what people think about that. But you are not wrong, JNL. I don't know. I mean, I'm yet to find out. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Too much makeup. I'm not actually wearing makeup. I don't know what to tell you, bro. At that, I like that suggestion, Danny. Thank you, Chenbu, for saying that, because I'm sure there's some people who are like new to this and like, wait, why isn't he looking at my question? And it's because I'm answering responding to Chenbu's comment at 8:38 p.m. So like it's not you guys, it's me. I do my best to try to go through these thoughtfully as much as I can. Yeah. Oh, Game Farmer, I heard about that. That's a really sad story. I was actually just reading an article about that collapse. I didn't know that you were out there, but no, it was really unfortunate. Thank you, Mia Girth. That is exactly the word I was struggling to remember, but you are 100% right from a genetic standpoint. Lisa, they have not yet. The search has actually just been opened up officially, I think last week. I was looking, I can't find it online. I'm going to talk to my friend to see if I can get a copy of it. I'll share it for sure. Yeah. Are you going to genetically test them? I don't, if you're talking about the cattle, no. I mean, like, it's an expense, and to kind of what end, I kind of wonder. And so I have no plans to do genetic testing on any of my cattle. So, Megan, here's a dilemma. And when I had my last set of bull calves, so Joey Ramone and Jimi Hendrix, I waited. I let them both be intact for a long time. Like I didn't castrate until about 6 months, and I feel like that was a mistake. And so that's why with both of the boys this year, I banded them like, I don't know, like within probably about 48 hours after they were born. Because everybody has told me it's easier, it is less stressful for the animal. And so that's actually what made me end up doing it. And so kind of taking advice from a number of my cattle mentors, that's what got me there. If somebody like approached me and said, hey, I want to buy a bull calf from you, and like almost like put down a deposit as a way to basically like buy the animal or pre-buy the animal, I would absolutely do that. But I don't have interest in like trying to like raise it up, then sell it, and then if I can't, then castrating and then using it as a steer. Like I've realized that it adds a lot more cost and stress and problems and risks, and I don't want to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. It's a fair question, Megan, but yeah, it's a hard choice to make, but unfortunately it seems like it's in the best interest to do it sooner rather than later. So actually, David, I'm going to be trying something this year that I haven't done in years past, in that come fall time, I'm going to try using weaning rings. So weaning rings are like these, like, I'll pull up a picture to show you guys, but they're like these like little nose rings that you put in the calf's nose, and it makes it so they can't get in there and their mom won't let them get in there to drink. And so I won't actually have to separate them out. I just have to put the ring in, and I only have to do it for like, I think like 3 or 4 weeks, and it doesn't hurt them really. Like it's like having a septum piercing almost for a couple weeks. Yeah, that's actually what I'm planning on doing with the calves, but I won't do that until probably when I do like their fall health checkup. That's when I'll put the weaning rings in. Here, I'm going to show you guys what I mean when I say a weaning ring. It's like a plastic piece of plastic that just like kind of hooks into their nose, like in between their septum. and the spikes aren't for the calf. The spikes are for the mom. So hold on, I'm not sharing my screen. Present, share screen, window. There you go. So you guys can see it here. So this is what a weaning ring looks like. And so basically, like, this part goes in the nose of the calf. This part, when the calf tries to drink, ends up like bumping into the mom, and the mom's like, I don't want that. And the mom jumps back. And so they can't drink the milk. And so like what I did last time was I basically set up a fence. And so I had the calves on one side and the moms on the other, and everybody was just yelling and angry for 3 weeks, and it kind of sucked. And so I want to try to this and see if this works better. And so my plan will be that this fall, this is what I end up doing. I'm going to see if I can find, more images for you guys of this, like in action. Okay, here's a perfect example of it. So this is like a weaning ring in place. Yeah, see, this is like an angry vegan talking about it. But again, this isn't actually because I don't want them stealing. There's a certain point where for the health of the mother, it's better to dry them off. And so yeah, like an anti-suckling device is what some people will call it. But like there's different variations. I'm not sure exactly which one I'm going to use yet, but my plan will be to put like these rings in the calves, and again, only do it for a couple of weeks, and then I can pull the rings out, like, and kind of see how they do, and so that is my plan. So, I get what you're saying, Casey. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It might make for an interesting video. So that could be the argument for doing it. I think Audrey would be the one I'd be most interested in testing. Macho Man, like I have his papers and I can go back like 3 generations on the guy. And so there's no value there. I think some of the others might be interesting to see, but definitely Audrey would be the most interesting because I'm pretty sure she's a hybrid. She's not a pure Highland. All right. Chen likes okay. Everybody's liking all right. Yeah. Okay. Laney, I think you're right. That's actually one of the things I've thought about too with the Molly Murder Mittens logo. So yeah. Barn cats would make a good. The new Oh, okay. So actually, so ramen noodle, you bring up a good question. I was actually making this version of the logo. Let me bring it back up. It's actually intended for a hat. And it's based on the templates that my hat producer has. And so that's why it's actually wide. What I would actually do is also make like a shirt version that might look a little different. But yes, that I think that's a fair point in terms of the stacking configuration. Okay, all right. Heinlein's a fan. All right. So, all right. I think I might lock this in. All right. I'm going to see what the samples look like, and I'm probably going to make some other design refinements anyway. I think to the point, I forget who said it, but to the point about the claws, I probably got to have the claws popping out a little bit. And so, yeah. JNL's even agreeing. Yeah, needs claws. All right. Diane is asking, okay, I actually got some new information here too. So how's your next book coming? So Diane, the Lil Barn Cat book. Hey Lil, you want to say hi? Lil's like sleeping. Oh, look at that. It's adorable, isn't it? Here, wait. I'm just gonna take a moment here and we're gonna zoom in on Lil and just say hi. We're gonna spend a little time with Lil as I talk about this part. Hey Lil. See how adorable she is? Well, anyway, yes. So I've just completed a couple weeks ago, just at the beginning of April, actually, I just completed the first draft of The 8 Lives of Lil Barn Cat. It's a book all about Lil, who you see here. It's a sequel to the Toby Dog book, basically. So kind of all the same characters are back. There's some new characters that get introduced. There's a whole adventure with Lil and Pablo and Toby and Grodiotis and Jessica Coyote actually plays a pretty big role in this one, and so it's a fun little book, and it's I think it's going to come out in early 2025. Like I'll probably have it out in January. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to start doing a second draft. And then I have to turn it over to my editor. And then I go from the editing process to starting the illustration process and the copy editing and proofing and all of that, getting everything ready so that while I might like to try to release it in the fall, I'll be rushing and I don't want to do that. And so I'd say it's gonna probably be like, yeah, I don't know, January, February, probably by the time it comes out. But yeah, that is Diane J Cat Lady. That is the update on the book. And let's see if I can go back to normal camera. Whoop. Oh, I've turned so far the camera's like shooting itself. Okay. All right. Thank you for your answer about adopting cats in the there are cat breeds that I think are very cool, but I adopt rescue cat. Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking people who buy cats, like, and you buy a specific breed because you want that breed for like you and your need and context. And I think in some situations that makes perfect sense. I think for my situation where I'm having barn cats, like I would rather go the route of adopting, even though when it comes to dogs, I actually think it's important to be very, very specific in the type of dog and what dog specifically and the parents of what dog I'm selecting. And so it's like different contexts have different needs and do the best one. I think if you can err towards adopting, rescuing, it's better, but that's not always for everybody. There's no one size fits all, no one perfect answer. All right, I'm jumping ahead. I'm trying to catch up. But I'm going to take 3 more questions here. I'll make them good ones here, hopefully. So the weird chickens are laying eggs. I am getting a few weird chicken eggs a week, not a lot, but a few. Once I finish the new house and move them and it gets just a little bit warmer, I'm going to let them start to sit on nests and hopefully we will have some little weird chicks. And so yeah, that'll be coming soon. Later this summer, actually. I don't want to say soon. And you're like, why is it next week? That is actually the next on my to-do list, Gabby. So probably in about 2 weeks, I'll be tackling that project and overhauling the chicken coop to get it ready for winter. We are like Frog City, David. There are so many frogs out like right now. Like if I opened my window, you would hear them. Okay, I'm jumping ahead, getting to the last question. What's going to be the last question? Last question. Need one last question. Hold on. I'm going through. I'm trying to find a really good last question. Oh, okay. Mark is asking. Okay, this is a good one, Mark. So yeah, I would actually absolutely consider adding belted Galloway to the herd. Much like I'm kind of doing the experiment with the Charolais, belted Galloway would be another one that I think would actually match what I'm looking for hybrids. And specifically, it is a good hardy breed, which belted Galloways fall into that category for sure, and something that's a little bit larger. So Scottish Highlands are kind of small to mid-size cattle. If you're looking at various classifications, and that's good. You know, as I do beef, getting a slightly bigger animal might have some benefits in that regard. And so that's why like a bigger animal would be there. And so mixing a belted Galloway with a Scottish Highland would be something that I think would work great. And so if there's an opportunity to add like say 2 or 3 belted Galloways into the mix, I would probably go for it. So I don't know, who knows, but that would definitely be a breed. But right now, honestly, I'm super excited about this video I'm going to share with you guys tomorrow because here, I'm going to actually give you the preview of the thumbnail even so you can see it. Tomorrow's video is going to be the birth of our 2 calves. One of them kind of basically happened when I woke up in the morning and he was just hanging out. So that was Prince. The other one though, here you go. This is not photo. I mean, like it is Photoshop, but I was just adjusting the colors. This is what it looked like. And so this scene is in tomorrow's video and it's going to be kind of cool and interesting. I had never had the opportunity to catch it in a video. And so, yeah, it's exciting. So you should check it out. It'll probably go live like tomorrow at around 11 o'clock, Eastern Standard Time. And shout out and thank you to my moderators. I see Sow and Tear, and I see Rose at Wholesome Roots, and I see, I thought Danny from Wicked Awesome Gardening. But yeah, thank you to everybody. Please show those mods love because they make this happen. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow with that video. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be crazy. I mean, like really crazy, like this kind of crazy. It's going to be something. Thanks for watching, everybody.